Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I feel so happy. Like, I feel like I'm at a party. I'm like, where's the cake and the ice cream and little spirits? The spirits. Anyway, I want to thank you, Reverend Mary, for inviting me to come and be here and be a part of your community because it feels good. It feels good to be here. It feels good to be in this room and to feel the love in this room. And so yeah, it is. It feels good I come from Southern Baptist, so we don't do dancing. We definitely don't do healing, and there's only one God. So it's really cool to have these experiences to see how spiritual growth can take you beyond what you've known before. Because spiritual growth does allow us to move beyond where we have been before. Now, I love spiritual growth because it has reverence, it has discipline, it tells me what to do. I like to follow directions. Anybody else like to follow directions? Like, just show me how to do it and I'll do it. If it's going to make me feel better, we bend down, we pray, we meditate, whatever. I want to do it. Yes? Anybody suffer in their life? Anybody have any suffering? Any suffering here, in here, or here? Life is funny, isn't it? But today, in this presence, I can feel the joy. Has everybody really felt the joy in this room, or did you bring your outside inside? Did you bring your outside inside today? Because this is the kind of place that you feel lifted up when you leave. Yeah? So, we're going to talk a little bit about the divine feminine. So, when Reverend Mary mentioned that was the discussion, I was like, oh no, I'm not sure about that. That sounds awfully willowy to me. It's a little, divine feminine. It wasn't a term that I was familiar with. And so I'm a good student. I start studying and I realize it's not anything different than what I did to develop my spiritual gifts. It has a little bit more weight to it than maybe what I had, maybe given it credit for. So when we talk about divine feminine, you may struggle with, "Well, I don't know, does that mean I'm soft? Does that mean I'm weak? Does that mean I have boundaries? Does that mean that I'm just all mushy and I can't take care of myself?" So some of us may have the idea of what the divine feminine is, and I'll ask you, let's just put those aside here in the box and be open to kind of hear what the divine feminine, after my careful study, I've been really studying, it's been around a long time. The term may be new and upcoming, but it's been in spiritual practices from the beginning of time. And so you've probably experienced being in the divine feminine. I promise you. Have you ever felt compassion for someone? Have you ever felt pause? A need to pause? Yes, right? Have you ever felt understanding for someone or something? Understanding? And we already know we have people here who know how to receive. Yeah, because yeah, I love that. That was a great exception because of most people in the spiritual world that I've met over all my years, a lot of us are givers. We don't receive well. We just feel better being of service. So what that means is we're always busy. Anybody relate? Always busy caring but life is way busy. Smartphones are really supposed to help us. But have you ever had a problem finding an app, right? How about your login and password? Y'all now know your pass key. Yes. So life, even though it's meant to be simpler, I have found it to be very distracting. Yes? Anybody relate to that? The noise of the world? It gets louder. And so when I began to look at the divine feminine and how would that help us? So if we look at sort of the universal definition, it is the state of presence within us. You already have it, a state of presence within you that is receptive. Hear that again. It is a state of presence within you in which you receive. What do you think? Do you feel like you receive or do you feel like you're always in forward motion? And wherever you are, the good news is it's not this thing where you have to go, 7 steps to divine presence, which that is a girl like me likes of, and we have tourist people in this room. So you understand I like to have a step, just tell me where to go, right? But within divine presence, the gifts of it is where I found the sort of magic of being alive, the joy of just being. And so we have to get over things like trauma. And some of us are in protection mode. And protection mode is that sense where we're on guard. We're protecting our aura. We have to watch and we have to filter things in. So when we think about divine presence, it's a presence that's already in you. So we're going to do a little practice. You guys ready? Are y'all ready to receive? Now, this isn't meditation because if you're really activating the divine feminine, it's present, it's awake, it's alert. It's not the wilting flower that I thought it might be. It is the active alertness. So let's look at that together. And I got my notes because I want to get it right. So remember, it's a natural state of receptivity. So if you've had trauma or you have a busy mind, that distraction might keep you from enjoying the peace. So let's do it together. First things first. You don't have to fix the world problems in the next 3 minutes. You don't have to worry about the doctor visit, the next thing. You just get to be present. So let's just take a nice breath in and pause. Breathe in and bring your awareness to this space here. Pause. That's how we begin to activate our piece of divine femininity. Bring awareness inward. Now, you can close your eyes if you're light, or you can just narrow your gaze, whatever feels comfortable. But the goal is to bring that awareness inward and enjoy this pause. Pause. What are you feeling now? Begin to let those shoulders relax. Begin to let that gentle guard down. What are you feeling now? Nice pause. What do you notice? What do you notice going on within you? Now, your mind may be busy. That's okay. Bring it to noticing maybe a body, shoulder, knee, leg. Taking another breath in, pausing, being open and receptive. What are you open to receiving today? What are you open to receiving today? Just let that unfold in your awareness. Nice breath in, letting go, and that pause. We pause and we ask, what wants to flow through me today? And I want you to really sit with this. What wants to flow through me today? And begin to feel your energy shift. We move from pressure to release, from tension to relaxation, from pushing to flowing. Are you in a receptive space in this moment? Do you feel like you're receiving in your beingness? Yes? You may feel like you're feeling like you're receiving. If you are you have activated your divine feminine perception of receptivity. Now, when I started to practice this weekend, I'm a person that has to embody stuff. I like to read and do that, but I like to practice. So the first day, I sit down like we just did. Of course, I'm wanting something to happen. Like, okay, what kind of magical experience, spiritual like connection? That's no, guess what I found out? None of that happened. But what I did find is when I practiced this, I woke up in the morning and this is how we awaken that is what do we want to, what energy do we want to bring to our day? You get up out of bed and, things like clear and calm and confident or joyful or compassion. It doesn't matter what you choose. I mean, I doubt you're going to wake up going, I'm going to tell them, you're not probably in that state where you're in the fighting mode. You're probably, if it's like me trying to decide what hurts in my body for the day, I got a knee ache, a shoulder ache, a headache, and, whatever it is. And so our job is to pause and I did it the first day, and what I found is that there was a sense of flowiness about me that day. Nothing really great happened other than at the end of the day, I had energy left. Anybody out of energy at the end of the day? You're like, "What have I got left?" Right? I was calmer in my mind, you see? Second day I did it. I did the same thing. I woke up. What am I open to receive today? Well, that day I hadn't sat down with my journal and started writing in a long time. And if you do that, anybody a journal prompter or like to journal, I encourage you to try it. What wants to come through me today? And you'd be surprised. It's the things that happened when I very first started my spiritual awakening 20 years ago. You see, I believe we all experienced a little bit of traumatic or trauma or PTSD from COVID. Yes, we couldn't go anywhere, and when we did, airlines changed travel lanes, like, you couldn't get groceries. We couldn't you guys remember when everybody was out of toilet paper? It's kinda like the hurricane weather here, everybody's out. So you walk around in tension, like, "I think I gotta figure out the next thing." Anybody relate to that? I gotta make sure I have enough. I gotta make sure I'm in that space. I gotta call that doctor ahead of time and make sure I have a space. I gotta call the pharmacy to get my medicine. Anybody in that space where it's the next thing? And so when we begin to tap back into the divine feminine, we are actually open to receive a power that's already in us. Now, in working in spirituality and doing this for ourselves, the hope is that we feel more calm, more connected, more whole, and less fragmented. That we feel like a whole being. Do you feel like a whole being in this moment? Do you feel like you're all glued together from the inside out? Yes? You're probably present and you're in your divine awareness. That's what being that receptivity feels like. It's this, and I like to call it inexhaustible energy that's connected to the sun that rises and sets every day, no matter how it feels. It's not worried about did something get done or not get done. It rises and it sets and it's active within us. So as we look at divine feminine and awakening that, there's some gifts that will happen. And why it looked familiar to me is when I started my spiritual journey, I wanted to feel closer to God. But I had that concept that God was like out there somewhere. But inside, I felt like there was something in me that wanted to feel close so I could feel that um, presence and power, that calmness, that everything's okay, that safety, you see? And I started with meditation, 5 minutes on a timer. Little did I know I was activating the divine feminine. I paused, I took a breath in, I relaxed my body, I was open to whatever came up in my meditation experience. Now, I could only sit for 5 minutes, and most days it was three before all of this started working. Anybody relate? You're like, meditate? Oh, no, I'm probably, don't say meditate. I'm not going to be able to do it. I was like, let me just be calm and peaceful. That's the goal. And that's what awakening the divine feminine offers. And the good news is you've probably already done it. How do you feel now? Pause. Bring your mind to your body. How do you what do you notice in your energy? Am I for you guys and women that tend to be analytical, this might be a challenge. Can you let it unfold without wanting to control it? Now, I'm a practical person. I like to think about, well, what does that look like? So, how many of you drove your vehicle today here? Yeah. All right. How many of you were a passenger? Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about how you traveled down the road. Did you grip your wheel? Paying attention? Yeah. Alert? Or if you were a passenger, like, is everybody gonna be, like, am I gonna get there without, and I have a little PTSD around being a passenger. That means I've had to let control, I've had a few accidents and things like that. So practicing just embracing the spirit and steering wheel, taking the tension off. And we just let the tension relaxed and alert. That's what that presence of divine feminine is. And I encourage you to practice it. If you're the driver going home, just practice not gripping your steering wheel so tight. If you're the passenger, maybe let go of the side of the door and the seatbelt. Maybe stop looking up at the front so much. Maybe you get into your gaze and you say, what's going on? Well, I'm in a car. That's how we really begin to work with pausing, what's going on with me, what wants to come through me, and a lot of creative I can tell there's a lot of creative energy in this space. And if you're in a creative mode, whether you're practicing connecting to your loved ones in the spirit world, or you're wanting to connect to angels, or you're a healer, you're already tapping in. So this might sound repetitive, but I would challenge you, instead of forward movement, can you pause first to see what comes and what flows through you? And that's where, in my world, in working with the spirit realm and helping people develop their intuition is not the divine feminine. Intuition is the messages we get by accessing the divine feminine. It is the way that we receive. You guys with me on that? I was like, what's the difference between soul and divine feminine and higher self? Like, okay, how does that all work? The divine that we're talking about, that ability to pause and be receptive, is our bridge between our physical and soul world. And when we open and receptive to that bridge, it's like we open a new channel of energy that allows our soul to express itself in its integrity and in its light and in its love. And my hope is that you'll practice that this week. And we're going to do it again. You guys ready? Nothing like a little practice. So just real quick, remember that when you start, that you're not figuring out a problem. There's nothing to fix. You're just doing what's already normal. You're just bringing attention to it. So here we go. Let's try it again, without trying to figure out the world of what's for dinner, or whatever is ailing you in your body. Right. So bring awareness to your innermost self. Just bring awareness to your innermost self. What are you feeling? What are you noticing? What are you open to receiving? And what wants to flow through you now? What wants to flow through you now? You might feel this subtle energy begin to awaken. It's like an electric current of receptivity because now you've plugged into the divine energy. This is the presence of our soul. This is our connection. And if you're working on meditating, I would do this before you meditate. If you're working with oracle cards, I would do this before you practice with your oracle cards. If you're a healer, I would do it before you get ready for your healing session because then you're taking your hands lightly off the steering wheel without gripping so hard. You're opening to fear less. You're letting go of protection and you're becoming into awareness. You're letting go of tension and you're opening up to presence. And finally, you're letting go of overthinking and becoming present in the connection to this greater part of yourself. The first step is always just gently reminding us it's safe to slow down. Safe to slow down. It's that presence of being. Do you guys enjoy that experience? That letting go, that flowing into a space of wholeness that y- you just already have in you? That's where we start. And if you are somebody who's working on developing your intuition or wanting to connect to your loved ones, this is, I believe, one of the hardest things to do is to come into a practice without wanting or making something happen. Like, oh, I need to hear from today's my dad's anniversary of his passing. And so I usually send him a note, Dad, I love you. You're the reason I do this work. Because there was such trauma with his passing. And it was his visit from the other side that opened the door that we do live beyond the physical world. And that's where it started for me, but it moved into so much more of a healing paradigm that began to happen. And that's when we open to the divine feminine. We are accessing a healing quality that heals us mind, body, and spirit. And I hope that you will enjoy it this week. And by simply starting your day with what am I open to? What am I receptive for? What am I feeling? What am I sensing? And at the end of the day, I'm a betting woman. I do like to gamble. I'm betting that you have a little bit more energy in the day, that things and synchronicities come into place where things are in alignment better and you have a lightness about you. And that's what life's meant. It's meant to be enjoying the journey, not tensioning the journey. Yes? And we have a lot of distraction trying to help us get tension and fear and worry. Our choice as spiritual beings and spiritual practitioners is to choose peace, compassion, the divine feminine of reception, knowing that we're safe to walk this path. I hope you guys enjoyed that today. If you are thinking, yeah, thank you very much. If you're open to the spirit realm, which you are, yes. Raise your hand if you're open to the spirit realm. Yeah, you want to hear from angels, guides, loved ones, descended masters. Yes, just to feel divine. Yeah. So Friday night, I'm going to be doing it what we call a demonstration of messages of evidential mediumship. This reminds me so much of my spiritualist church that I went to in the UK, where they had the chairs and the water. I was like, "Ooh, I'm in the spiritualist church here," which is where we do messages from the platform. for connecting to loved ones. And if you are somebody that's curious and you'd like to do that, we still have spaces open, and you can feel the realm of the spirit in the Friday night gathering. Just come to be curious. Well, you might get a message, but most of all, you bring your own divine self, and you're part of the healing experience for everyone in the room. I love giving messages. Saturday is more of a practical workshop. That's where we will be practicing the divine feminine, but we will be directing to get using that receptivity to learn what your natural gifts are, hearing, seeing, feeling, knowing, how to sort of strengthen those with clarity and begin to move your life more intuitively, trusting what you're feeling, sensing, and knowing. And you might get some premonitions. You get that feeling of the spirit world. It just feels good to be open to the spiritual creativity. And if you do want to learn how to connect to your loved ones, it's one of my greatest passions. That's why I started this work, is to help us know we're not alone. And that comes from learning how to have the experiences of being open enough that we feel our loved ones with us and how to work with it. And so it's open to all levels. I hope you will consider coming if you feel drawn to come. I know we have tickets available, and I think that's all I have. Any questions about the divine? Anything I can help with? Any of you struggled with that open pause? I mean, you probably overcomplicated it, right? You're like, oh, I'm going to have to learn something. It's actually simpler, thank heavens, than maybe what I thought it was going to be. It's something you're already doing, but the gifts are limitless in what it provides us: energy, compassion, connection, and just feeling good. Thank you again.